Hey, it's Superman here with Alan Hudson, my trainer, mentor, and almost like another dad on the track. Um, this interview has been long awaited. Have had many complaints from the big man upstairs, Richard Carter, and yeah, it's going to be a pretty heavy one, I think. So, Alan, who got you interested and what got you interested in BMX?
Well, also shout out to Rick. That's my guy too. So I apologize for being so evasive and elusive with this podcast. I know we've been setting it up, and things have been kind of getting out of hand. But
Kids go first.
yes, exactly. I'm a new dad, so it's been yeah, three times over. I have three kids now, so it's been an adjustment. But I started back in 1998. A neighborhood kid got me involved. I actually just learned how to ride bikes right before that. But I started at 9 in Apple Valley, California. It was called Horseman's back then. Now it's called Apple Valley Moto Park or BMX Moto Park. 1998 is when I started at 9 years old, and I turned expert the first couple of months because I wasn't told, hey, slow down.
Yeah.
And I kind of did the struggling thing, but I started in 1998 as a 9-year-old.
Nice. So, where did you go from, fast approaching expert to, pro now?
Well, so I since I didn't space out my intermediate career, which is probably the most, the best route in my personal opinion, is to kind of space out. I got a rude awakening into expert, as you do, as anyone does, even back then. And I kind of struggled making it out of rounds at nationals. I would do okay at the state scene.
Yeah.
But I grew up in Southern California, so it was super, super duper competitive.
Yeah.
A lot of, future pros, a lot of future national champions and stuff. I had to race Jason Morris. We were the exact same age forever, so it was a lot of chasing him, growing up. And I did that until I kind of broke through the national scene about 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to make mains consistently, first as a cruiser, and then more consistently in class until about 15. And then I had some family stuff, moved from California to Arizona, and then my life kind of restructured. And I was like, hey, I might as well turn pro, and turn pro at 16.
Yeah.
And back then you could. They changed the age multiple times since then. And that was 2005. So I turned pro in 2005, and that was I turned pro at Winter Nationals 2005. I got my nickname Hot Pants. Mike Redmond actually gave me that nickname. It was kind of an interesting situation, but yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I normally don't say anything, but hot pants.
Yes.
Kind of lay that one out for us.
Yeah.
So what is hot pants?
Hot
exactly?
Pants. So Mike Redmond, R.I.P. He it was my first pro race, and I was back in 2005. It was uncommon for someone to wear skinny jeans, and I was wearing skinny jeans, and boy, did he harass me that whole entire weekend. And it was lesser, acceptable then. So, and I was doing well. I was doing well in pro. It was my first, my debut, but it was a rain race, and all these other things happened. And but I crashed the first turn, and he talked about me the whole entire walk off the track, and that's a long track. So, but it kind of stuck. I started to do well in pro pretty shortly thereafter, and I started to make A pro mains even at 16. And then once I turned 17, I kind of took a step back a little bit, and then turned 18 and started to make more A pro mains. I started to get podiums. Back then, you would have to do 3 rounds and 3 mains, so it was a little bit more demanding as far as your training and stuff to stay on par. So that kind of was my beginning of my pro career. But then I turned double A. It was called double A back then in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in A pro for 2 years, and back then to make double A you had to make $3,000 in a season,
Wow.
which wasn't back then. It wasn't hard to do because we had 40 riders every race, and the wins were $800, $900, not anything like today. So it was pretty easy to make double A back then.
Inflation.
Inflation, and monopolies as well. Back then we had NBL, who was a nice competitor and kind of kept the ABA a little bit more
In line.
Honest.
Yes, honest. Yeah, exactly. On their toes,
Yeah.
And the pro payouts were excellent back then in the NBL. So I think they were kind of a little bit more aware and they were more pro friendly. ABA was, USA BMX was. It was a little bit easier to kind of make good money and at least on the payout wise. So, but now you kind of have to be a little bit more resourceful and stuff because the payouts aren't there anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, being that I probably wasn't alive and I was probably still in my father's body, how was it like? How was it like riding with both the Carters and Ricky?
Oh man, so after I turned pro, I got picked up by the team Psychopath, which is how I got introduced to the Carters. So I was on Psychopath for a little bit, and then which is a NorCal-based team, and they were always had the eye on talent. And my team manager John Mooey, one of my favorite people in all of VMX. He's not very, he has a mixed, reputation, but he's one of my favorite people. And he was picking up all kinds of talent, and Ricky was up for NAG 1 and 5 and under expert, So I think he was an easy pickup. And then Rick, obviously he's one of the most enthusiastic people about this sport, and he always has been, even back then, even more so back then. And he was just a good presence to have around the team. He always is. Even now, every time I see him, it's always just uplifting. He's always a smile. I mean, even if you're having a bad lap or bad races, if you talk to Rick, he can definitely put you in a good.
He'll find a way to
put you uplift you. Yeah. And these races are easy to get down. So,
yeah,
at any level, yeah, for sure. But you can see his tutelage is passed down to Junior because Ricky is he's almost a spitting image of the integrity that Rick brings to every situation he's in, and Ricky he's going to be, he has lots of things to accomplish, and I can't wait to see what him actually accomplish his potential.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're a great family. Even Mom, Michelle and Macy and Maddie. I mean, I love the whole family. They've always been so welcoming of me, and I love the whole family. The family's great. So yeah, shout out to them, by the way, big time. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm glad that we're all involved in this situation because, yeah, they're some of my favorite people in all the sport.
Yeah, it's all come full circle.
It really has. I mean, I didn't expect to be living in Oklahoma, ever in my life.
I expect to live in almost middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you kind of can't predict these things, and if you can find a constant like awesome people, then I think that kind of keeps the sport kind of fresh for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Rick.
So, who is like your guiding hand in BMX? Like your biggest mentor, best coach, like the one who most impacted your.
I'd say, gosh, there was this guy who's out of the sport now. His name's Mike Goal. He got me my first factory ride and put together my first training program, and he was there when I first turned pro and was one of my biggest supporters. But he's out of the sport, and kind of since then it's just been my best friend, my circle. My best friend Mark is kind of like, he's my motivator.
Yeah.
Because I'm almost 30 years into the sport now, and it's kind of hard to kind of keep the fire lit sometimes. I mean, even at quarter of that time, it's kind of hard to keep the fire lit. So, and now my whole entire family is involved in the sport. So, I can't. That's my motivation now. My daughter's gonna be riding Striders here very shortly, and so I was actually gonna take a step back out of the sport, but this is definitely an eye opener, and I'm happy to be still involved heavily as I am now.
Yeah. So, going back like a couple steps back, what was your biggest step in becoming pro? Like, what was your biggest blockade?
So I got my first national expert win, which is kind of elusive. You could race nationals as an expert for 10, 11, 5, 6 years and not sniff a podium.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that. I was getting podiums in the really, really, really competitive class of 15 expert back then. And I got a win at one of the harder races on the West Coast. And I was like, that in addition to some personal family stuff, I was like, I might as well just go pro and free practice. That's the huge benefit. That was a big motivator to turn pro, unfortunately. But that me winning the 15 expert class against people who were going to be good future pros was the biggest motivator for me to turn pro.
Yeah.
So that's kind of was the big step. Just making mains at once you get 15 and start making mains, you're gonna be kind of competitive with all the pros. It's just the nature of the sport.
No more fun to the track. Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah, no more fun, really. I mean, it turns into a job pretty quickly. I mean, once you turn 15, 16, you either decide I'm gonna drive cars and hang out with my friends, or I'm gonna be doing my sprints, or I'm gonna be at the track 4 or 5 times, or driving to the track 2 hours each way.
Both, yeah.
So it's a huge commitment either way.
So what is your greatest achievement in BMX?
So I think it got my my scholarship, my cycling scholarship. So I think I got I was 25, 26. I started emailing cycling coaches, and they offered me a very hefty scholarship to offset tuition at 60%. I just had to move across the country, and actually, first I had to take the SAT. I never took the SAT, so I had to do that. And once I did, they paid for 60% of my tuition, so it provided my degree. So that's by far outweighs any personal result that I've had. I've had some pretty good results. I won the Rock as a vet pro a couple years ago, and then I had an elite men final at the national championships in 2008. That's probably my biggest personal result as an elite man, especially back then. But yeah, going to school on a cycling scholarship and getting to race bicycles, collegiately is by far my biggest accomplishment.
Yeah.
And getting my degree. I finished school, so.
Yeah. Hopefully I get to do that.
No, yeah, those opportunities, they're out there. You kind of have to be resourceful because they're drying up. Schools, Lindenwood just closed, and that's one less school. So you just have to be a little bit more crafty. And, I think there's going to be some more schools popping up here and there. But, those opportunities still exist, I went back at 26.
So now becoming a father and a pro, pro.
Yeah.
How do you manage to balance those two responsibilities?
I'm still learning because this is, a newer situation. I'm 9 months into it, and I didn't just get the one kid. I have a couple others now with Kennedy and Carson. So that's been I'm fully invested and I'm going all in, and so it doesn't hurt that my girlfriend also is a pretty high level athlete, and she's also a big motivator and helper, and has been, dragging me to the gym when I don't want to, and when we're on 3 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I think she's been helping me find the balance, but I mean, it's been just experiential day by day, I mean, same thing with working with you, I haven't worked with someone in quite some time, and, it's been an adjustment to get back into coaching, now, raising children, making sure everyone's healthy and fed and, watched and not drowning in tubs or digging in toilets. But no, I think I'm starting to get my bearings a little bit now, and, it's June, almost July, and I think, I still have lots to, figure out, but I'm definitely trying to get my, my results are also an indicator that I haven't got my balance quite, as best as I need, but it's coming along, and, I'm definitely hopeful that the balance will work its way out entirely still. But yeah, it's
clinic that's coming up.
Yeah, and this is my first clinic. Usually this is how I've been feeding myself the last couple of years, is clinics, and I haven't been able to book one around here, and I have, fortunately, it's upcoming Sunday, and I'm actually going to be booking in it's
Wichita?
Wichita. Yes. It's the other there's 2 tracks in Wichita. It's the one that's in a park. But that's going to be scheduled. That's in 2 weeks or so. So I'm going to start getting, a little bit more active in the coaching clinic space around here now. And I think this one just sold out. So that's a good sign, that people are interested. And, you can speak to the gate is my favorite thing to teach. It's the only thing you have control on on the track and during a race. And,
True.
And you really don't have a lot of other things, that are,
in your favor and control?
No, not at all. So, but no, I'm really excited about the clinic here at Sand Springs, and they have a really great facility, and they have the indoor national gate, which is the fastest in the world.
Yeah, you hit that thing, you expect to flip over, but it just goes down faster.
It goes right down, right, and it's safe. because back when I was younger, when you hit the gate, you flipped. There's a good chance you could get your arm cut under and break a bone and have an orbital fracture, and it's a lot of other problems. So these are safe, and this track is a great facility. I mean, Nick Long is on the board. I mean, but obviously there's no track in where you live, so this
Not
is one
yet.
not yet. But so you're
Wait a couple years.
Yeah, hopefully less than that. I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think that this is a great facility to have as something that's relatively close for you, anyways.
So, what advice can you give to other BMX dads out there that might need a little guidance in teaching their kids how to...
I would say patience is the biggest thing that I would give to them because
Why are you looking at me?
yeah, take it easy.
I already got
Yeah,
the talking from Rick and Mike
patience.
a long time ago.
Yeah, honestly, and I mean, obviously, it has to go both ways because I think now that I've been a father for a short amount of time, like me having to load up the bikes and then drive to races is draining in its own right, and I think there needs to, I mean, Carson's 13 and Kenneth is 5, so they don't have I don't think they realize, that it's a team effort, and I think some dads kind of can make it about them, and definitely not saying that about Cord, but some parents, I mean, I've worked with plenty of parents that, it's them projecting their, successes onto their kid, and it burns out a kid really quick. So I'm pretty grateful to have been around, good parents and supportive parents that do work as a team, but it has to be mutual, and obviously when you have a 7 or 6 year old, it's hard to have that understanding, but when you're someone your age, I think you can respect the effort that has to come with getting to races and volunteering and running a team, and volunteering is like one of the most thankless things you can do, at a BMX race. So it's, people are kind of just thinking that you show up and it's there, but like,
It's magical.
yeah, it's magical. But no, there are people who aren't getting paid to work here, and I think that's, it needs to be respected. But
people who are taking time out of their day.
Yeah, I mean, and most of the time it's parents, and but the patience thing is, don't have any expectations for your kid. Just kind of expect them to go through their rough, their ebbs and flows, because of the sport you can't just be high the whole entire time. It's unrealistic to have that. So I think that's pressure that parents could just kind of let go, and I think it would be a little bit more productive of a relationship, because if it's too one-sided one way or the other, then, I mean...
That's how you see kids quit and then do, like, school activities like football,
100%.
baseball.
Something other than BMX, because this is such an individual, such a unique sport, that it is on you, mostly the rider, how much effort you want to...
You can't make your excuse on your team or...
but you do have a team, though, because the parents aren't, right?
Yeah.
Because that's why dad gets so worked up about, some dads get so worked up about effort, I mean, trying. You can't help but give a lot of effort. You're racing 2 classes, every race, and you're driving 2 hours there,
2 hours back,
racing,
4 hour,
full force, practicing. It's
waiting an hour for the next race to happen.
And I think your dad has an understanding that this is a little bit harder for the moment, obviously when you get a track closer and it's a little bit easier, I think you'll have, but those situations are unique, but parents just need to be patient. First and foremost, I think that's the most important thing for parents.
I've seen, not going to name names, but I've seen, like, almost fathers verbally, like, abuse, like, 100%. Their kids. Like, where to the point, it's like, that kid's 6, and I don't think he understands the concept of time.
It's not going to register. I mean, they only see a mean dad, and,
angry dad,
An angry dad, yeah. And we talked about Rick earlier, Ricky wasn't breaking through to expert, until just semi-recently, and he was patient. Mm-hmm. And dad was, like, positive at every race, even if you didn't do well. And I think that kind of, he was patient, and guess what happens? Now, Ricky's a top 4 kid in 1720, in my opinion, So, like, I think, those things do work out, and his patience and his positivity definitely went for far. And it got rewarded. It's getting rewarded now with his success.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was just about to say, look at him now.
Yeah, he's probably one of the fastest dudes in 1720 cruiser, and I think he's a main maker in 1720 expert every single time.
Yeah, I mean, he got a college. What really blows the mind off of, like, almost everyone in California is that he got a college scholarship from BMX racing.
Mhm.
He didn't get
Yeah,
it from
yeah,
having to, take a psychology class or like something like
Sure.
that.
Yeah. No, that's how I went to school too, and like that's great. I mean, if you can have this sport kind of affirm while you're so invested in it, like, because no matter what, if you're doing this at a high level, you're highly invested. I mean, you can't go really halfway because this sport
Yeah.
is so demanding.
But then you
And-
can't give up because all the time and money you've
Oh my
invested.
gosh, is it?
Especially all the money.
Especially all the money.
It's-
But the time is, you can't recover that. And
No.
so if you're gonna go all in, you kind of have to go all
Gotta,
in. And,
like blackjack,
yeah, exactly. I love gambling, so you're speaking my language. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you kind of have to go all in. You can't be
Yeah.
hesitant about this sport, and you also get hurt that way too.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And if you don't, you can't be.
I mean, look
timid or
at
anything.
Riley Hudson.
Oh yeah.
One time Connor Fields. I mean, Connor Fields has already recovered. But.
Yeah, I mean Sam Willoughby. The list is long, and it gets longer every day. Then the second you kind of let off about how serious this sport is and how damaging it can be, like you get hurt,
Yeah.
and it can be critically, and it can end your career. So, but no, I'm smarter about it now. Especially you have to be at my age, and I have kids now. I want to hold my baby after practice. I don't want to hurt my
Yeah,
shoulder,
no.
So
Like-
I'm definitely a little
Like
bit
what I hear
comfortable.
most dads saying, Cruiser, I got work in the morning. So.
Yeah, not me right now, but I definitely am still, I mean, it's it's still one of those benchmarks. I don't want to not be able to hold my baby, So that's why it's kind of hindered my competitiveness a little bit, but I'm healthy, so I'm winning that aspect right now. I'm healthy for now, so yeah, exactly.
Well, I want to thank you for doing this interview with me.
Of
I got a couple
course.
gifts for you though.
Oh, nice.
Since this is long awaited, we have definitely collected some
some dust
things.
too,
Yeah,
probably.
some dust a little
Oh,
bit.
nice.
So I
Awesome.
wanted to abduct you into the order.
Perfect.
Want to
Thank
give you some of
very much.
Mr. Bierman's homemade beef jerky.
Oh, nice.
I think we have yes we do, a hat.
Nice.
Haven't seen this in a while.
Beer budget. Oh, awesome. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, thank you. I've done a couple of podcast interviews, but this has been the most pleasant one I've had so far. You're an awesome kid, so I'm glad that finally got to sit down and get this, worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that you're also taking a break and not riding right now. You're gonna raise 2 classes here in a sec.
So start practicing now, and I can do it. Trust me.
No, I know you can. I know, but thank you for this. I appreciate it.
Superman out. Oh, we're also under the dance comp Easy Up. Mr. Bierman wants me to address it. Thank you to who made this Easy Up?
Mike.
Dance
Yeah.
comp. Thank you to everyone who Ranger Easy Ups. And,
Shout out Mike Lee for Dance Comp. I know he's the BMX guy. He's one of my dearest friends. So
Good guy.
keeping
Yeah,
us
really good
cool
guy.
instead
Also
of
in the NHO club.
oh, is he?
It's in the order.
Oh, awesome. See, good
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
all
great.
right. Superman out.